Well, good evening, everybody. It's the Cryptid Huntress. I'm Jessica Jones, and boy, do I have a great show for us tonight. Thank you guys so much for being here. We're going to be talking about a very interesting cryptid tonight, and I want to say cryptid because this animal was never identified that we're going to be talking about. And man, I've got so much information. I don't even want to waste any time right now on the introduction. We're going to be talking about the Beast of Bladenboro tonight out of North Carolina. This happened back in the 1950s. So it's been a while since this happened. It's been, I'm going to say close to 100 years. Okay, but not quite. Okay. But yeah, this is something that just terrorized an entire community, an entire county back in the 1950s. And so we're going to get deep into this tonight. I have remote viewed the Beast of Bladenboro. And I got to say, the data, I think that I kind of can tell what it is just from the data. Okay, so we're going to go there tonight. If you guys would like to follow along with my data, you can join my Patreon if you're not already a member. Shout out to all of my Patreon members. You guys are amazing. I really appreciate that so much. And so we're, yeah, go to the Patreon. It's Patreon, the Cryptid Huntress on Patreon for that membership. Also, I have a membership here on YouTube that you guys are welcome to join. I do exclusive video content here on my channel, and it's more of a spiritually based type of show that I do. It's not a show. It's like me sitting down and talking and sharing my information and things that I know and doing some intuitive readings and things like that. It's a lot of fun. So shout out to all my channel members. I love you guys, man. Your support just blows my mind. Thank you all so much. And also, if you like to find my shows, you can do the all-in-one action-packed website. That's thecryptidhuntress.com. And you can find everything there, the calendar of events. I do have a couple of conferences coming up. I have the Georgia Bigfoot Conference next month. That's March. Actually, tomorrow is March. Okay, so it's leap year today. It's like the 29th of February, which is very odd, right? But I have the Georgia Bigfoot Conference. I'm going to be speaking there with Ron Moorhead. Okay, like the godfather of Sasquatch. Okay, well, not the Squatch father. That's Al. Okay, we know Al. But we got Ron Moorhead and Brooks Agnew and Matthew Delph will be speaking there as well. So y'all come see me March 15th and 16th, I think. It's on the ticker down here in Dillard, Georgia. Come see me live and direct. I'd love to see y'all and meet everybody. Okay, well, I think that covers pretty much everything. Also, if you'd like to get some really awesome jewelry or something, go to War Woman Goods on Etsy. That's my shop. My little tiny small business is over there on Etsy. Okay, awesome. Okay, well, let's get to our show tonight because I have Barry Littleton here with me. I asked Barry to come on tonight because he has some really interesting information on. I just asked him to come on and talk about bloodsuckers and stuff because that's part of what this beast was, and also for Barry's other information. He's a wealth of knowledge. Y'all know Barry. That's my sidekick, y'all. And he's here tonight. Okay, let's get into the show. On December 29th, 1953, a woman in a small town called Bladenboro, North Carolina, heard her neighbor's dogs barking and whimpering. When she went out to investigate, she saw a large cat-like creature creeping into the darkness. That was the first sighting of what became known as the Beast of Bladenboro. The next day, a farmer reported to police that 2 of his dogs had been killed by something large and strong, and their bodies were completely drained of blood. Over the next several days, the police department was inundated with calls from locals reporting fatal attacks on their pets and farm animals across the entire county. People said they saw an animal like a bear or a panther that was anywhere between 5 to 3 feet long and like 2 feet high, 2 feet tall, with a long bushy tail. And most of the reports said it had a cat-like face. Others reported that they heard the creature screaming from the swamp. And one person said it sounded like a woman with a knife stuck in her back. Other people said it sounded like a child crying. After newspapers published the story, almost 1,000, this is a town of 800 people at the time or something, it may have been less than that. About 1,000 people, like hunters, showed up from across the country to Bladenboro to hunt down the beast that was mauling local dogs and goats and a horse and draining them of their blood. Deciding that things were getting too dangerous, the Bladenboro mayor and the chief of police, called an end to that hunt. On January 13th of that year of 1953, an unusually large bobcat was killed. And they pretty much claimed that bobcat was the Beast of Bladenboro. I think it was just kind of pretty much to keep everybody satiated. Is that the word? And it really reminds me of the Beast of Javudon, okay, and what happened there in a lot of ways. So I think there's a lot of similarities to what happened there and what happened in France back in, what was that, the 1500s? So, but yeah, the attacks seemed to kind of die off a little bit, if you want to call it, until I think that they moved over to another county, maybe to Lumberton or somewhere like that. But they did kind of die out. And then around 2007, 60 goats were found with their blood drained in the area. 60 goats. So that's a goat sucker, right? Sounds a lot like the chupacabra. And so, yeah, what was this beast? Some people claim, okay, we've got everything from a panther, a cougar, a dogman. Some people think it could have been a dogman. Some people say a bear. There's a whole bunch of possibilities here. A wolverine, perhaps. All right. Well, here's the thing. Y'all know I'm a field researcher when it comes to cryptids. I'm really big into tracking, and we have to know the different animal prints and the animals. And they did send trackers in to come track whatever this was. And so I'm going to give you guys a Cliff's Notes version of animal tracking tonight a little bit too, just to show you some of the tracks that these different animals make. This is very important, by the way, when you're doing field research, to know the animal tracks that are in your area and what you're hunting down, because you need to know what's not only in the area, the food supply and the resources of the Bigfoots, you need to know what might be tracking you as well. Okay, and to help me talk about all this tonight and to go over this data, I would like to introduce my friend Barry Littleton to the show. Barry is one, like I said last time, he's one of the cutting edge researchers in the paranormal and the cryptid fields and the UFO community. And yeah, I love Barry to death. With no further introduction, let's bring up Barry to the show, and we're gonna get this party started. Hey, Barry.
Oh, I was asking for sight beyond sight. Yes, what's up? How you doing, Jessica? Thanks for having me on. Hello to everybody in the chat. I saw a bunch of hellos on there from a bunch of people. So hello to everybody. Thank you for having me on, and I'm honored. So.
Well, thank you for coming back. I mean, you are the perfect person to come on and kind of go over some of this stuff with me, this data, because there's a lot of things about this beast that could be explained as being a big cat or potentially even a dogman, right? But the very interesting key factor in all of this is it was draining the blood. There was not an ounce of blood left in any of these animals. And we're gonna go over some of this. So if you're super squeamish, y'all just be warned, everybody that's watching and listening in today, because I'm gonna go over how some of these animals were actually unalived, as we say here on YouTube, because it's not unusual, except for the blood draining in the ways that they were unalived. So what animals that you know of would drain the blood of an animal completely, Barry?
You know, interestingly enough, sometimes that's an insect quality even more than animal. But you're right. The way that the kills were just very, very interesting, and not the way a normal cat kill would be. And you know, that bobcat thing, that whatever it was they held up, that was pretty lame, man. That wouldn't take out some of those pit bulls and those other dogs they were showing. Not at that rate. I mean, that was pretty lame. That wasn't even a very big specimen they had there. So I think that, the things surrounding it is pretty nebulous.
Oh, we're going there tonight. Because listen, my dog's got a hard head, big old skull. And I've got a German Shepherd, and pit bulls even have bigger hard heads, I tell you. And that little old bobcat, I'm going to show you. I'll show the audience what Barry's referring to. I have that newspaper article from that. There's a little bobcat that they found in a trap, and they had been setting traps up around the county. And this is the bobcat that they said unalived not only a bunch of pit bulls and dogs, multiple goats, but a grown adult horse. That's a little bobcat. Like it has a, I don't know. I'm not saying it couldn't, but I don't think it did. That's just tiny. That's a really small cat. So, and this kind of reminds me, Barry, of the story about the Beast of Gévaudan out of France that happened in the 1500s, I believe, where this thing was going around. I mean, it killed hundreds of people, women and children mostly, and the elderly. Pretty much the low-hanging fruit. It was going around, and some people were thinking that it was a Dogman because they said they had seen it walking on two legs.
And it had the description of a Dogman.
It kind of did. Actually, I think in the remote viewing data, I do believe it might have been a Donnie. Oh, look, Donnie's in the chat. Donnie actually did that show with me. Hey, Donnie, with the Beast of Gévaudan, and so I believe it was more like a hyena. Now, it could have been a hyena type Dogman. That's a possibility. But I think the conclusion was it was more of a hyena type animal, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a thylacine? I forgot. You would know better than I do.
Oh, the thylacine. The thylacine was a Tasmanian tiger. I had mentioned that on your show the other day. I was in the chat. Actually, I was talking about the marsupial lion, which I think they actually call Theliosio, or I can't pronounce it, but that's actually a marsupial lion that was in Australia that people are reporting seeing it now. Kind of the same way people are reporting seeing Black Panthers in the United States when they're not supposed to be any, but obviously there's a breeding population or something. So anyway, that's just kind of that there. But no, interesting when you say that hyena, because when looking at what actually Anubis was supposed to be a jackal, wasn't he? Wasn't Anubis more of a jackal than anything else?
Yes.
I know jackal and hyena are exactly the same, but you're getting closer phylum there.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that was in relation to the Beast of Gévaudan. Now, tonight, we're talking about something that's potentially more like a cat. And for the audience, if you guys aren't familiar with this story, I was not familiar with this until after I found out what the target was. And I want to show some sketches, some artist sketches of how this was described. Now, we showed you the picture for the newspaper article of the potential Beast of Bladenboro, which was actually a cat, okay, like a bobcat. But this is kind of how people were describing it. Now, I know this was this is the cat that was it's on the thumbnail of the show tonight. I took that picture right there and used it. That's kind of how they describe this thing. You see the dog right there in front of it?
Mm-hmm.
It looks like a mix between a cat and I don't know, a dog, a werewolf. I don't know. It's got
it does look a little Werewolf in London like, doesn't it?
It does.
Which is more of that. What is that? The Type 2B Dogman is supposed to be more like the American Werewolf in London.
Yeah. Well, let's look.
Which would be right there. Type 3 variant 2. I'm sorry. That's supposed to be more like the American Werewolf in London. Just technically, I mean, I definitely wouldn't want to run into that thing in the forest. Good Lord.
No, not. Well, a lot of people described it as looking like a cat, and more like I'm thinking like a black panther, because some people said it was black. Other people said that it was actually tabby colored, tabby, like a tabby cat. So I'm assuming that's brown and like with lines on it, which I don't know. Yeah,
instead of American Werewolf in London to be more a thriller. Did Michael Jackson turn into a cat being? Or maybe that movie, this reminds me also of that movie Crack Jokes, that movie Cat People.
Yeah.
Remember that with Klaus Kinski and
yeah, like Cats the musical.
No.
There were people
that turned into cats and they're eating people.
Yeah. Totally. Oh my gosh. Well, okay, so the first sighting of this animal was on December the 29th of 1953. So witnesses described the creature as sleek black and around 5 feet long. It killed a dog in Clarkson, North Carolina, about 8 miles from Bladenboro. So all this is like all in the area around the region. On December 31st of 1953, 2 dogs belonging to a resident of Bladenboro were found dead with significant amount of blood in their kennels, and the dogs were torn to ribbons and crushed. Okay, and like I said, y'all, if you're squeamish, y'all just be aware, okay, because I'm going to talk about how these animals were unalive tonight. And I want to read the quote as to what this man said about his dogs. He said, "My dogs put up a good fight. There was blood all over the porch, big puddles of it, and there was a pool of saliva on the porch. It killed one dog at 10:30 and left it laying there. My dad wrapped the dog up in a blanket, and the thing came back and got the dog, and nobody's seen the dog since. At 1:30 a.m., it came back and killed the other dog and took it off. We found it 3 days later in a hedgerow. The top one of the, let's just say the dog's head was decapitated. Okay, it was decapitated. I'm not quoting it directly now because it's kind of graphic, but its body was crushed and wet like it had been in something's mouth. The other dog's lower jaw was torn off. So this is like carnage, Barry. This is carnage. It's not just this little. I'm assuming these are not Chihuahuas. Okay, these were big dogs, most likely, and this.
Couple of them like pit bulls and bulldogs.
Yeah, they're pit bulls. Yeah, I'm trying to find that article. Okay, I don't think that this cat would have done that. And that man also, gentleman also said that the dogs were covered in saliva, like the thing had it in its mouth. And that little thing can't put a whole dog in its mouth. I'm sorry, unless it's a tiny little dog. That's my 2 cents.
And something else, at least maybe you can confirm this, but I didn't see any reports of it really, the kill being eaten. It was just slashed up and murdered, but it wasn't eaten. And most natural predators will, especially cats, will take their prey away and eat it.
Yes.
And this creature didn't do that. Yeah.
Right. Well, I gotta say, I've done a little research in the past on the way big cats, attack humans, because I was given a target of, what was it? It was the bow hunter that died out of Texas, and I think that his neck had been ripped out. Okay, sorry y'all, I know it's gross, but his neck had been ripped out. He had got attacked, his head was crushed or something, and that's what big cats do. They jump down from a tree usually, or somewhere that's elevated up in the air, up in the, not in the air, but up higher than where you are, and they attack from up high going low, and they go for the neck, and they'll put your head in his mouth. Yeah. So anyways, yeah, that's, y'all, I got to go through this because it's all part of what this animal is. We're trying to decide what this animal is, and then we're going to get into the data. Okay, so the following day on January 1st, 2 more dogs were found deceased on a farm. In the night of January 2nd, another farmer claimed that his dog had died. 2 more dogs were found dead on January the 3rd, and an autopsy was performed on that dog, and they said there was not even one nor 2 drops of blood left in the dog. The top lip had been broken open and his jawbone had been smashed back. And you got to remember, there was already a report of another dog whose jaw had been broken off as well. Further deaths were reported in the next days. Even a pet rabbit was found decapitated as well. A dead dog was found in a pasture, and a goat was reported dead with its head flattened. Okay. Yeah, I know, y'all. I'm sorry. One local described the animal as about 4 feet long, bushy, and resembling either a bear or a panther. Another person described it as being small.
I thought that kind of a weak explanation. Either a panther or bear. What?
Well, I mean, I'm going to put some pictures. They could look similar. Listen, I've seen dogs that look like panthers before. You know, there's like a black Presa Canario or a Cane Corso, I think is how you say it. They look like panthers when they're all black and their ears are cropped. Yeah. So
those are bears, though.
Yeah. Yes.
Sorry, I know the difference between a bear and a cat.
It's not a bear.
My personal opinion. That's all, you know. Anyway.
That's right. Well, some people said that it was small, and other people said they saw a big creature, I'm gonna call it a critter, you know, with a little one running beside it, like it had babies. Like there was more than one, and there were different types of descriptions for this. Okay, so there were so many pet deaths, so many animals being, you know, unalived around this area that a group. Okay, so they called in a group of hunters out of Wilmington, North Carolina, to come track it. Whatever this was, they were going to track it and hunt it down and get rid of it because it was obviously a threat. They spent at least one night tracking the swampland, and they found claws that were about an inch long and indicated about an 80 to 90 pound animal. And they said the animal, whatever it was circling in a circling motion. So they figured it had either a mate nearby or a baby. So on January the 5th, so this is all happening within like a week. Okay. On January 5th, the beast was witnessed attacking a dog, which ran away and was not found. The tracks were seen along the creek bank near one of the attack sites. There were 2 sets of prints, and one was smaller. So that indicated that there was more than one. And then another resident described a gigantic mountain lion. They saw a mountain lion near some dogs 3 houses down. The creature ran towards her, but turned around and fled when she screamed. And that the tracks were bigger than a silver dollar, which is not that big, in my opinion. Silver dollar is little. But then a little boy said that he saw the creature outside his house. He called it a big cat. And he said it was crying like a baby. Now, listen, these cats, they do cry like babies. Bobcats sound like children crying and women crying. So on January 11th, 2 cars stopped for an animal reported to be 4 feet long, and it had runty looking ears and brownish color, and it was like a tabby. Okay, so that's a cat, just a bigger size cat. Okay, then it starts getting real spicy, right? Because the vigilantes came in. Okay, like the guys from all over the place, people from Florida, Tennessee, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, wherever they had 1,000 people that showed up in this town. It says the night of January 5th, 500 people showed up to hunt the woods and swamplands, and that's before they didn't have widespread. They didn't have internet back then. They had television sets, but the main way to probably communicate was newspapers. Newspapers are way popular. It started getting published in the newspapers, and I have some of those articles to show tonight because they started calling it the vampire beast. And let me tell you that might have just been to make the headlines to get people's attention. But I mean, imagine if you saw this in your local newspaper, Barry, back in 1954. Vampire charges woman. So that's the woman who saw it and was able to give a good description of it. So on January 6th, more than 800 people turned out to see the beast, okay, in the swamps, and they actually decided to lure it in with some dogs, which it kind of sucks, okay? So they're going to tie up the dogs to lure them as bait, which I'm usually bait when we're out in the field. But they says they never were able to put that into action because the hunt itself was also ended by officials due to safety concerns. Okay, so like the cops, the chief of police, they got upset about it because there were so many people there. That's hundreds of people. That's like the whole population of that county basically showed up into that county to come hunt. And then listen to this, the next night, 1,000 people showed up. That's on January 7th. They said another 800 to 1,000 people showed up to go hunt this creature. Now, of course, and including like fraternity brothers from the colleges, like at UNC, I guess, they showed up to go find this. So the crowd became way too large because these guys just were, I'm just going to say they're probably drunk with guns. Who knows? But they had guns. Imagine just going out there and just shooting whatever. You know, it couldn't have been good for the wildlife. Couldn't have been good for the residents. So the chief of police and the mayor shut it down. They told everybody to go home. And I think that PETA actually got in touch with them and was mad because they had heard about the dogs that they were trying to use for bait. So that was another issue as well. But so on January the 13th, a local farmer found a bobcat struggling in a trap. That's the picture that I showed you guys. And so they took this cat. It was deceased. They made it. They unalived it and took it into town, and they put it on display for everybody to see. And they said that that was the Beast of Bladenboro, that it had been found and it was dead. And of course, it was questioned because that little cat could not have mangled all those animals. There's no way. Then the same day, another guy hit a gigantic cat or something in his vehicle. He said that it looked like a spotted leopard, is what he said. And this was after they had already put that cat on display. And he was like, no, I think that was the actual Beast of Bladenboro. And then a third man came forward and said, no, he had killed the thing. And so it was just a big old mess. I don't think they actually got it. Okay, they never got it. Nobody ever was able to decide what this Beast of Bladenboro was. All we know, it could have been a dog. Okay, it could have been they said it could have been a wolf. People were saying all sorts of different things. And I'm wondering, because they had professional trackers coming in there. They know the difference between a feline and a canine when it comes to the tracks. And I figured we might get into that just a tiny little bit tonight.
I kept finding like different tracks when I looked into this, all these tracks, like which one is the real tracks of the being?
Yeah, which ones are the real tracks? That's the question, right? That was my question. And that's more than anything what I was looking into, because I mean, just to do a quick little quickie here. These are canine tracks versus feline cats. So this is in these felines, that's going to be big cats too. This is little cats and big cats. And you can see a difference there. Okay, you can see the shape of the foot. Dogs usually have the claw marks. They don't have retractable claws like cats have. But not to say cats don't have claws on their prints too. Okay, because their claws are out sometimes. But you can tell by the pattern. Okay, there's just a good tracker can tell the difference. Okay, and here's some other. This is more of the canine tracks, and that's coyotes, dogs, and of course fox. Fox are in that category as well. So I just wanted to show you all kind of the difference, and anybody who's tracking should be able to tell the difference, what's there. So, all right, so let's see where we want to go. Some people called it, they said they looked like a mountain lion, Barry. And the lady who got charged the one who, she said that it came at her and she screamed at it, she said it looked like a mountain lion. And so that was her 2 cents. She called it a mountain lion, but it's also known as a cougar and a puma. I think it's kind of all the same cat, just different names. So some people said it looked like a wolverine. Okay. I start talking about animals and my dog starts whining. Did y'all hear that? I don't know if anybody heard that. Okay. So
before we did this show, I had this cat come up to me on this bridge by where I live and follow me all the way home. I have no idea whose cat this was. It's bumping into me. It was really a trip. I said, this has got to be some sort of an omen as I walk back to do the show with you. Yeah,
it must be. We're talking about cats tonight. We are, for sure. And it's really interesting because when I heard of the Beast of Bladenboro, I always thought it was probably a Dogman or something. But you know, you see the pictures of it, and you're like, man, it kind of looks like a cat, but it could be a Dogman too. So, okay, so let me show you guys some of the pictures of what people claim they think it could be. So here's it's like a black panther. Okay, some sort of like a puma, a black panther, a jaguar or something. Just a big cat. Okay, that's one of them. And
Beautiful creatures.
beautiful. And this is a mountain lion. Okay, and you can see mountain lions and jaguars, all these big cats, they have an interesting way that they go after their prey, Barry. And I have this information here too, because see that jaw, that is a powerful jaw. Okay, very powerful. And these things are way bigger than you think. Okay, they're gigantic. If you've ever seen one in person, whew, man, they're really big. Okay, they're way bigger than they look in those pictures.
Yeah, even a bobcat is a great deal bigger than, but that appeared, even that picture, I've seen bobcat that looked maybe a little bigger than that where I used to work in the country.
Oh, wow. Okay, well okay, so let me just go over this real quick about how they unalive. Okay, so they tend to go for the throat, and they end things fast. Okay, so when you're getting attacked, if you were to get, and I have all the information tonight, like we can go over it if we have time later, as to what to do if you're ever attacked by a big cat, like a mountain lion, because I've got all that info. Okay, or jaguar, whatever, any kind of cat. And those are a real threat when you're out in the woods, by the way. But they pretty much do a quick death to whatever they're going after. They go for the throat, they end it fast. It's easier for the cat so that animals don't fight back and they don't hurt them long. And because they know that if something's struggling, that it's going to attract other predators who might steal their prey away from them or injure the original predator. They don't want to get hurt, so they just go for the kill. Okay, I'll just say it. And so what they do is they go for the throat. They usually go for the throat, and a lot of times they'll attack from behind. And yes, they do grab the head and they will crush it. Okay, and so that's when we're talking about the pit bulls and the dogs, all the dogs, the goats that their heads were crushed. It sounds like a cat. Okay, it sounds like a cat because that's what they do. They do it quick. Dogs and hyenas, if you're looking at dogs and hyenas on the other hand, they don't give their prey the same courtesy. They don't always unalive them before they start eating them. Okay, they let the
real quick, I'm sorry.
A little bit.
I don't mean to interrupt, but what is it with this term? I've heard this being used by you today quite a bit. Unalived.
I don't know. It's something about the I have no idea. I mean, that's just what it's on YouTube. It's the whole thing where they don't want you to say certain words or you get flagged. I don't really care at this point because my videos are getting messed up anyways. Like they're unsubscribing people from me anyway. So why not? Yeah.
You going through the shadow ban too?
Yeah, big time. So y'all make sure that you're subscribed to my channel, please, and hit that bell so you'll know when we're having our shows. Because I'm seeing that things are a little odd over on YouTube right now. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say about that. Okay, but anyways, dog. Okay, a canine. If it were a canine, let's even say like a Dogman or something. They don't always go in. Okay, according to the psychology of the dogs. And the hyenas too. Okay, they don't go for a quick kill. They injure the animal first, or the human, or whatever it is. They injure it first, and then they'll eat it. Okay, and sometimes they eat it while it's still alive. Okay, I know. I'm sorry, y'all. It's gross, but that's what we're talking about tonight. And it's really important information, I think. Okay, because it pertains to what we're talking about tonight, 100%. Okay, so that's what big cats do. And so. Yeah, it's also we have what is called okay, so here's some of the tracks, by the way. These are mountain lion tracks. Look how big that is. That's like a 4-inch print or bit 5. I mean, that's a huge print. It might be bigger than that. Might be 5 or 6. That's a big print. Okay. This is a mountain lion or puma. Those are the tracks. There's a pocket knife right there. So y'all can see how big those tracks are. That's a big cat.
Look at the claws on that one. Goodness, man.
Yeah, and see, that's what I said. Not all cats are not going to have their claws out. Okay, so you will get claws in the track sometimes, but not always. So there's claws and no claws. Now we also have the possibility of a wolverine. Some people said it could have been a wolverine. See, it has a bushy tail, but that's about all I can say that would make me think this would be a wolverine, because it's got bushy hair. But it's got claws. But here's the thing about the wolverine: these things are ferocious. Yes, they have a very strong mouth. Are they local to that area? I don't know. Probably. I've never come across one. But who's to say? I mean, there's a lot of animals that aren't supposed to be in these areas that are there, just like the Black Panthers. We get trail cam videos and pictures of Black Panthers all over the place, and they're not supposed to be around here. So, and here, I want to show you the tracks of the wolverine. This is what their tracks look like, their prints. Much different than the dog and the cat. Okay, so I know. I hope I'm not boring y'all with the tracks today, but this is just important, I thought.
No, it's good. It's important. It's important.
It's important. And that's a wolverine track right there next to a hand. That's how big that is. So, okay. Also, someone had actually said that they thought that it was a German Shepherd that did all this, a dog. And yeah, here I found a German Shepherd that looks kind of similar to how they described it. I have a German Shepherd. I don't think my dog would crush another dog's head with her mouth. Okay, but who's to say? And here's a dog print. Okay, and of course we have the Dogman. I had to put the Dogman in there too. So there's all sorts of possibilities of what this beast could be. Okay, several possibilities. Now, before we get into the data, I would like to address the part where they're draining blood out of all these animals, because the only other creature that I know of that did that was the chupacabra, and that was one of my other remote viewing targets that you gave me, Barry. And so, can you explain to the audience tonight and to me how they drain blood and what the deal is with that? And you said it's insectoid.
The original chupacabra, that picture there, and something I'll just throw out again, because I put up a post on Facebook yesterday that was about the thylacine, and that how Monster Quest, and when the chupacabra seemed to hit America and the sightings, it suddenly didn't look like this anymore. It was this dog looking thing. Mm-hmm. And I think that's actually what that was a thylacine, I think, that they say are extinct that aren't. But the picture right there that you just had up, you could put it back up, actually. Thank you. This thing has proboscis, a tube that comes out of the mouth that's similar to the mosquito that actually was taking the blood from the goats. And it specifically was noted attacking goats by that woman in Puerto Rico, and the following reports after that. That's why they called it the chupacabra, means goat sucker, I do believe. Yeah. So, yeah, it's interesting. And, just something I'll throw out before we go over your data, because I've seen it and I think it's important just to throw this out, is that when you remote viewed this, you picked up the same thing that John Vivinco did, a hurricane, a laboratory, and something getting loose. And it's, and I went back and tracked that back, again, to what's Hurricane Marilyn that was in Puerto Rico. It hit Puerto Rico in 1994, which is the same year that the reports of the chupacabra came about. So, certain things we can start putting there, and the fact that something near data that I think leads to this too is this some type of whatever you want to call it, chimera, monstrosity,
hybrid
thing that's been released. Yeah, I saw some interesting comments over there. Several times people saying perhaps it could be a hellhound. And the only thing I would say concerning that, this was reported so much more to be cat-like, and the hellhound. The hellhound reports that I've always read and researched talked about these them being more dogs, like really canines, and in that way, and even sometimes canines that they call something called not possession but obsession, where people are being stalked by these dogs or encountering these dogs with these human faces. And there's another type of hellhound there too. Yeah, that goes, a little pretty deep there. And even if you look at the old movie Lost Boys, you remember the head vampire? He had a hellhound that was watching his house, named Max. He was a white German Shepherd, white, whatever those dogs are called. You know what I'm talking about? I know you don't watch movies.
Oh no,
Jones.
I love that movie.
Even you see Lost Boys. Come on.
Oh yeah, I love seeing my face. That's one of the best vampire movies. Yeah.
Oh, it is. Agreed. But
Okay.
remember, he had a hellhound watching it, and it's interesting that sometimes these hellhounds are being reported around these dumbs too.
Okay. All right, okay, so that reminds me of another target that I was given, and that was that trail cam Dogman looking thing. That was a dog with human looking hands and a human looking face. Okay, that was an interesting one. So you guys go back and watch that if you get a chance. It's on my playlist for my remote viewing shows. It was the trail cam creature, I think is what I titled that. And so that was interesting because it did look at a human face on it. It was odd. Everybody was saying, not everybody, half the people thought it was AI and the other half thought it was maybe a Dogman. So
I think I did that show with you.
I was trying to think. I guess not, because we would have talked about this if you had.
Of it, definitely. You
Yeah.
had the hands, and it didn't look really like that much AI to me, but who knows? It's so hard. I'm no expert on that. But it kind of looked like a Skinwalker of some type or something.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, Bigfoot Michigan Rob's in here. You guys, I did a show with Rob today. I was on Brunch with Bigfoot. Y'all go check out BMR on his channel. Thanks for today's show. Thank you, Rob, for having me.
I watched it. Good show today. And yeah. Rob, you didn't mention Tom Powell. I'm upset.
Oh my God.
Rob, Michigan Rob.
That was awesome. Yeah, you guys, I'm sorry. I've been talking so much. I haven't paid attention to the chat very much. I'm so sorry. If I miss you guys, shout out to everybody who's leaving comments. I see you, Mama Catherine. I see you in here too. But thank y'all so much. Okay, so let's see. Let's go down here because we have some great comments tonight. I want to bring everybody's comments up, and yeah, it did, Robin. Look at a human hybrid. Okay, well, let's get into the data now because we've gone 45 minutes almost. Let's get into the data of what the data says for this, and see if we can figure some of this out and get some answers, because this data was really super interesting. Okay, so I have 3 pages tonight of data. If you guys want to see all the data, go to my Patreon, become a member. I'd love to have you guys over there. And you get access to all the data and all the information, everything that I do. It's almost like a college presentation on each of those. Okay, that I put up there. Okay, here we go. So with some of the sensory data, the target was, I guess it was the Beast of Bladenboro. Okay, whatever was attacking all these animals in the 1950s. Okay, so some of the sensory data was slick, dark, furious, encased, feeble, bitter, bloody, stalking, waiting, chest pain. I actually started getting chest pain when I was doing this target, by the way. So chest pain, scared, and frustrated with some of the sensory data that I picked up on. Now I was picking up on, so some of my AOL data was shell shock. I heard on the case. I was picking up on shark teeth. Like like a great white, like shark teeth, like something super sharp, shark teeth. And I kept seeing teeth. All I saw was a bunch of teeth during this. And then I heard "get out the way." And this is really funny. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I heard there's like a remix song. It's like "hide your kids, hide your wife." I heard that. Hide your kids. I wrote down "hide your kids, hide your wife." Okay, I heard or I wrote down something that was accounted for. I heard a bloody battle. First blood, like that. Is that a Rambo movie? I heard first blood. So a lot of teeth and blood data. Okay. I heard an emergency situation, and I wrote down the word lion. Okay, lion. And then I wrote down lion heart, like LION heart. And then I wrote down lion heart, LYIN heart, because I couldn't decipher what it was. So I wrote down both. So lion heart, and lying heart. I wrote LYING heart. And then I heard somebody say, I heard bow down. Okay, after that. So, okay, so then some of my other data, okay, some sensory data, I was like getting into something that was hidden. And then I was very clearly in the woods. Okay, woods, woodland, farm, and country. I was seeing country roads, and I started feeling an overwhelming sense of paranoid. And I heard clairaudiently, I heard watch your six. I picked up on a bunch of like firearm data, like getting locked and loaded. And then I wrote down hybrid babies. Hybrid babies. And of course, looking back on this, when I first quit the target, I was thinking, well, is this like alien invasion? It's supposed to be an alien. Hybrid babies. And then I wrote down the word escaped for some of my sensory data, skipping over to that part. So hybrid babies escaped, pasture, and I wrote down escape route.
Isn't that interesting?
Okay, absolutely. And then I some of my sensory data also was like flourishing, abundant, and then I heard there was an abundance of resources. And then I saw something that was circular, but then I interpreted it as being a circus. I feel like a circus. I wrote down circus, and then I got like rampage, scavenger, some other data, but I also picked up on a cover. I wrote down cover up, and then I heard put it away. And pretty much that was, I mean, I had some more data, but like that's the most significant stuff out of the data right there, I think. It definitely felt like, okay, so out of all that data right there, I feel like I wrote down lion. Could that be a mountain lion? Okay, but then we've also got the hybrid aspect of this data. So there's a lion of some sort, but there's also hybrid babies. Okay, so I don't know, Barry. What do you think about the data so far? What do you think?
Excuse me. Well, the escape thing, rang out to me real loud, and you got the hybrid thing down there. What you described? What is it? A hyena? What type of hybrid was you said again?
It said hybrid babies is what I wrote down. I wrote down hybrid babies, but I also wrote down lion and lion heart and lying heart. It was like peacocking. That's what we call peacocking in remote viewing. Because you hear something, you just keep going with it. So
no, I must be just misthinking. I thought I saw in some of the data that you had down there like a hyena type of a hybrid. You had a slash of two different.
I did not write hyena. I didn't.
What was it though? What?
I wrote down. Okay, hold on. There's a couple pages here. No, I wrote down like I wrote down lion. In the data, it says lion. I also wrote down hybrid babies and mixed, something mixed, but I wrote down hybrid babies. I didn't write down anything about a hyena.
Yeah, it wasn't hyena. It was another creature. But you said something with
a
that.
Shark, a shark. There was a shark, like shark teeth. I wrote down shark teeth is what I wrote down. There's definitely not a shark out there, but it was the shark teeth that I was seeing. So something with teeth like a shark, apparently. Yeah, I don't have anything about a hyena though. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it wasn't hyena. You had said something else though, but you just said a mix. And it's something I read on there. It's on one of those pages I read it. So okay. I'm sorry. I could be wrong.
I wrote hidden. You might have taken that as a hyena. I wrote hidden, the word hidden down. So it kind of looks like I wrote hybrid. Hybrid. I don't know.
Hybrid. There's a hybrid. Something hybrid. Yeah. This wasn't hyena. It was hybrid something. But it was what creatures you said it was a hybrid of. You said that and something unknown. Was it lion and unknown? Is that?
Maybe so. Yeah, it must. I mean, if I wrote down lion, the only thing I can take from the data upon analyzing it is it would have been potentially a mountain lion and something mixed, a hybrid with it. Okay, like it made something hybrid. Potentially it was a lion hybrid of some sort, like a mountain lion. That is just what the data says. So I don't know. Let me pull up some pictures so we can look, because what I got was more of I didn't pick up anything like a Wolverine or anything like that. It appeared to be a lion, a cat. I mean, I 100% got a cat in this data for sure. but with shark teeth. Those don't look like shark teeth. Oh yeah, but I got the escape thing too, Barry. So something that escaped. I mean, are we talking about something that escaped from a facility? Do you think?
Yeah.
I mean, something that escaped because it was in a place that had it was flourishing in an abundance of resources. It was in the data.
The thing is, it's like the thing is then and what is the lion mixed with? Cougar mixed with something that they're doing that makes it kill just slightly different as far as it didn't actually consume its kill. Something else going on there, and it has too many similarities in the way of kill. Some of it, the chupacabra, to me, that's very odd. You know what I mean? And just like you said, big cats do crush skulls and do often pounce down on their prey. But some of what's with the jaw thing on all these dogs and the necessity to especially to attack canines.
Exactly.
Seems like it's all the attacks we heard about were specifically, except for the woman it chased and charged, they were all dogs, always.
Yeah. Yeah, I just had a thought, like, how far is Bladenboro from Oak Ridge Labs? Okay, in that area over there in Tennessee, over in East Tennessee, it's a pretty long ways actually. So, but that's where they have all those unspecified animal attacks over in East Tennessee. I mean, it's still the Appalachian Mountains. I mean, Bladenboro is going to be on the outskirts of the Appalachians. The Appalachians run right down the East Coast. So there's all sorts of strange things happening in those mountains.
Believe that.
Yeah, Donna's got a good statement there. Mixed with everything, shark, cougar, to find the perfect killing machine. I mean, that's something that I'm learning from all these shows that we're doing, these targets that I get. There's a whole lot of cover-ups, underground facilities, chimeras being made. I mean, who's to say it wasn't that? But this was in the 1950s, Barry. So what does that have to do with, like, how does that factor in with all this, do you think?
Well, already we've discussed this many times. A lot of these factories or laboratories go back to biblical times before that. You know what I mean? So this is nothing really new. It's a matter of when these, whatever they are that control these things, want to release these things, or they accidentally get loose like the chupacabra, or how many different one of these things they send up out of these factories to just run around up here to trip us all out and make cryptid people freak out. Seriously, that's very much disappears like to me. And then we've got something else, which is all these multidimensional and these multidimensional creatures that we're dealing with. And this thing of these creatures that actually do use the blood to manifest in a demonic fashion. Is it comes up again and again. Whether it be chupacabra or vampires or all these other creatures that need the plasma of blood to survive or to manifest.
Yeah, that's.
Although this sounds like it's more of a natural predator type of deal, what your data leans to, but it's still where it comes from is omnibus.
That's right. It is because
and where did it go? It wasn't what those people caught. I don't think it's what the gentleman hit that was describing a leopard or cheetah. That's what none of those other reports sounded like that. The way the thing was described.
It didn't. And let me find, where did that newspaper? Here's the newspaper article again. I mean, I just don't think that little cat was doing all that carnage. I really don't.
That almost looks smaller than a bobcat. Hell, that is little.
It's a normal size. It's a normal size. I mean, we have those on our farm and stuff. So, yeah.
I've never seen it spread out like that, so maybe so. But to me, bobcats I saw were running, and they were just much bigger than I thought they would be. Honestly, I mean they weren't, but compared to house cat, they're much bigger.
Yeah, but this doesn't look like a normal mountain lion, though. That's the thing. Like the data says lion, and doesn't mean that it is a lion, but something that's a hybrid. It said hybrid babies was in the data, and lion was in the data. When something was shark teeth, shark was in the data. of all things. So this is how it's more described as looking like that, almost like a cat or a puma or something, but with shaggy hair.
That make you wonder if you go down to one of these laboratories and just actually go walk down hallways of cages that have all these different creatures in them that are these genetic splices. It almost seems like that. It almost seems like that. So this week we're gonna let up the unique Dogman with some green eyes. Next week we'll let out the chupacabra. You know?
Right. Yeah, they must have taxidermed that bobcat because that thing looks like it's sitting up. So I'm assuming they said that was the same one. I think that's the chief of police right there.
That's supposed to be the creature that was killing all these dogs, right?
Exactly. It looks like a house cat almost. Like I had a cat that was bigger than that probably. He was like a Maine Coon, and he was bigger than that.
Don't you think that's kind of insulting?
It kind of is. It is coming from a field researcher. Yeah, it does look like a lynx, Millie. It does. A lynx on steroids. Yeah. Well, right before the show tonight, I did some really interesting research on big cat attacks because I wanted to look into how the cats, first of all, attack, what their MO is. Okay, like would it have been more of a cat or like a dog? Because upon analyzing that data, it did look more like this is going to be a cat, but a hybrid. I guess according to the data, this is only with the data, I would probably rule out Dogman. Okay, at this point, I don't think it's going to be a Dogman. I don't think it's a dog. I think it's a cat, but a big hybrid cat. So I think I was shucking it down with cornbread. Okay, I think Richard's in here, and he said, "Well, what can we do to protect ourselves from this in the woods?" Because I know he spends a lot of time out in the woods. So do I. A lot of us that are in here tonight, we spend a lot of time out in the woods. Well, there's a whole lot of stuff. I mean, there's not a whole lot of stuff you can do other than they say that if you are confronted by a big cat out in the woods, or if a mountain lion, for instance, if it displays aggressive behavior and starts moving towards you, it's crucial that you assert your dominance. Okay, do not back down from these things. You have to fight. Don't ever turn your back. Okay, there he is. Yeah, don't ever turn your back on them because they will attack you and they will get your throat in the back of your head. Okay, so just don't run.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to start laughing. It's just I have two things to keep coming to mind. One of these two videos. One is the guy that's moving backwards and the cat's just coming on him, and he stay back. And you got the other guy that the bear is trying to get him on the mountain, and he's kicking it, and screaming and yelling. It's really not funny, but some reason you brought that to my mind. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's videos of people who I guess they must have GoPros on because there's a guy who's being stalked by a mountain lion. He's got his firearm out, walking backwards, trying to get it to go away.
They go like that. He's going like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
That one. Yeah.
I mean, and people wonder why I carry a firearm with me into the woods. Because you don't know what you're going to encounter out there. You really don't. It doesn't have anything to do with the Bigfoots. It's the other animals and the people out there.
Yeah,
so it says that you wave your arms and you shout, you throw objects, throw rocks, throw sticks, whatever you can. The goal is to convince the lion. It says the lion right here, by the way, that you are not prey and you are a threat. It says, what do you do during an attack? Like if it does attack you? If it does attack you, it says fighting a mountain lion. Okay, y'all, I'm not trying to tell y'all to go fight a mountain lion, by the way. Disclaimer. I'm just telling you what to do if you do get attacked. Okay. Fighting a mountain lion is both defense and offense. Use your best defense if you are caught unaware and surprised by the attack. If it makes contact with you, fight back with everything you've got. Protect your neck and your throat. These are the areas they typically target. Use any tool, object like a stick, rock, or even your bare hands. Your primary goal is to make the lion think attacking you is not worth it. Go for its eyes and its nose and its most sensitive areas, which I assume are the family jewels. I don't know. Wherever you can poke at it, man. And if you got a gun, use it. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. Because you're not going to win if it gets you by your throat and your head. Okay, so yes, so this is a beautiful, wonderful message tonight. But
I mean,
it's stuff that we need to know. Okay, I needed to know that information, and yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
Super
the
annoying.
truth is, if you got one of those king predators like a mountain lion on you, you're in big trouble. Because the
Yeah,
truth is, we've all seen the videos when house cats go crazy and really jump on somebody. People have a big time dealing with just a house cat. They're going for the eyes, they're going for the hair, they're going crazy. You can only imagine what it's like to actually deal
yeah,
with one of them. But then let's take that and cross that over with what was it? Gilgamesh that has the statue of him holding the lion by the neck, like we could hold a house cat almost.
yeah,
There's a lot about that. I think that's a very interesting statue and representation of a
yeah.
giant, don't you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, this is why we need teleportation. That's right, General Sorrow. That's
I
funny.
don't know. I don't know, General. You know what happened to Brundle Dash Fly, Jeff Goldblum. He
That
couldn't
didn't turn
digest
out
it.
well.
He couldn't digest solids. He had to. Never mind. Sorry.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I've been hearing about this a lot more lately, Barry, is so Super Cyan Yet says, I have heard quite a few encounters with bipedal felines, and they shake me even more than Dogman because of the stealth displayed. I mean, I don't know why this is coming up more these days, but I've been hearing about that too. Have you, Barry?
Well, you've got extraterrestrial races. They're humanoid and also more cat-like that are upright. Something I'll throw out at you, all right? And this is when I went to that ranch, the SETI ranch, the stuff that happened to me in 2016 when I went there blew me away so much that when I got invited back for 2017, I had to know what I was dealing with out there in terms of what was my superconscious and subconscious picking up. And one of the things was the first craft that come up on me the first night I was out there. I was out in the field at night, and these two ships are like dancing out there. They're very close. I was out there for a long time. The people let me just stand out there, whatever, man. But I couldn't seem to tune into it. So I did a regression before I went out there in 2017. I wanted to know, what did my superconscious pick up? And I saw something on this thing that would have looked like a very large, I believe it's the lynx that has the goatee in a
Yeah.
type of a Swami jacket on this craft.
Oh,
And it made me really take into account of, one is I haven't seen a feline being. I've dealt with feline energy, but not really a feline extraterrestrial. You've got that thing in a mountain out there, that ore station that's producing this, reading people's soul energy. And we talked about this before. You even remote viewed it, and it's actually producing these orbs that will get in people's in their energy field and produce some type of an effect that pushes your consciousness forward. Okay, so I was thinking I had to make sure during this regression, was it one of these orbs that got near me, and I hadn't seen a cat being before. So this device out there, here you go, presenting an experience. Do you see what I'm saying?
hmm
That's what you're dealing with out there, and places like that. I think Mount Caligash is another one. And how many of these places have these ore stations still operating? I know somebody's thinking this. I'm reading it in their mind. Barry, Mount Shasta. Maybe I've never been there, but I was doing one of Jimmy Church's. I think it was one of those Fade to Blacks I was doing on his show, and we mentioned Iseti and we mentioned Mount Shasta, and he made the comment. He's got that voice for Barry. Mount Shasta's marvelous, this and that, but it's not like Iseti. It's something different out there going on. And what he had, and I said you had experience that pushed your perception forward out there, didn't you? He said, yeah, you remember the orb we all saw in the field? Yeah. Anyway, so
no.
just food for thought on that when we're dealing with some of these things that are ancient, not just these laboratories and these chimeras, but we have technology that's still functioning on this planet too, from when it was a type 1, type 2 civilization. They're hiding from us, thinking that all the past was people using wheels and just square wheels, and that's ridiculous. You see evidence of sound technology, levitation technology, anti-gravity. It's right there. You can't escape that.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in that mountain. There is. I believe Mount Shasta is the mountain that when Tyler from Journey to Truth gave me that blind target of the underground Area 51, and there was a bullet train or something that went from Area 51 to, I think it was under Mount Shasta, where all of the inner Earth beings were there. So weird stuff, right?
You know, I gotta say something about that. And this is just food for thought. Don't anybody throw apples and oranges at me. But look, if you look at what the speleologists say, like that one lady, Crystal
Cavers, y'all. You go into cavers.
Yeah, not even just not spelunkers, but speleologists. They're a little bit different in what they do in depth. They've been all underneath Mount Shasta. They said there's nothing under there. They said they were wishing they could find a base or anything they could record as being incredible. And when they bring that up, people say, "Oh, that's just because it's multidimensional." Yeah, of course, that's what it is.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just throwing out food for thought. That's all.
Yeah. Well,
because I know next door to SETI there in Sleeping Lady, we know there's a city there. I saw it in hypnosis. You saw it during remote viewing. That's real.
Oh, there's all sorts of cities all over, all underground. And yeah, I got a really interesting, since we're on the remote viewing topic, we're doing remote viewing tonight. I had our friend D.A. Roberts on the show yesterday, and I had done a target for him a long time ago of the Joe Bald Recreation Area. And after I went over my data with him, he and Robbie from his show went to Joe Bald to go look around to see if they could locate any of the stuff that was in my data about the underground facility there. And he told us live on the show yesterday that they did. They found evidence of there being a facility underground there. So, boom.
What was evidence? We'll be fine.
Oops. They found, oh gosh, I'm sorry. I'm hitting buttons and I didn't mean to do that. They're finding, they found like power generator boxes and stuff. And there's nothing there. Like there's no buildings or anything, seemingly to go to something that's underground there. So, yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. But what is it? Okay, sorry, my dog is talking. No. Okay, so, oh gosh, I'm so sorry. Hey, if my son's watching, will you come get the dog, please? Okay, come here, girl. Come here. Either she wants her moment of recognition.
I may have mentioned this before, but I had a client, and really cool. Actually, we both met him at the JR2 Journey to Truth conference. But during this regression, one of the beings that he had seen on board this craft was a type of a Dogman. But it was described as being about a little over 7 feet tall and having on a certain outfit, but also looking very much like a German Shepherd with the ears standing up.
Yeah, I hear that.
Said it repeatedly. Very much looks like a German Shepherd. Yeah. An expensive one.
Yeah. German Shepherd, yeah, right? Well, that was actually one of the descriptions of what they thought that this Beast of Bladenboro was potentially a German Shepherd. So I don't know. There's so many different descriptions. I think that there were multiple Beasts of Bladenboro, to be honest with you. I think that there was more than one. I think I wrote down. Did I write that down? Let me see. Maybe not. I get all my targets confused. I did this one a while back, so but I feel like there's more of them. I think there's many potentially, or a couple.
Something we've never talked about on any of these shows.
What?
This amazing coincidence that came up that we brought up concerning Dogman. And when I met this quote unquote well-known whistleblower that talked me to death one-on-one, anyway, but one thing I was like, what you know about Dogman? And this has been in 2019. Individuals said, that they're intergalactic trade partners, body parts, like they trade body parts of all different species.
Yeah.
They're intergalactic species. That's what they do, actually.
Yeah.
And when I mentioned that to you, your eyes got real big because you had a situation, something you had viewed that brought up something concerning like Dogman and body parts, did it not?
It was the
Remember?
exact thing, but it wasn't a Dogman. Oh, it was a
It was
potential Gugway. It was the old Green Eyes from Northwest Georgia.
right. That's right.
Yeah,
I did
because
that show.
in the data, it literally said that you have never mentioned that before. I've never heard of it ever. And that was actually in the data for Old Green Eyes out of Chickamauga Battlefield here in Georgia. It was trading body parts. And I was like, I didn't even want to say that on air because I felt like it sounded so crazy that I was like, people are not gonna, this is just too outlandish. That whatever this is trying to take the body parts from those soldiers. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. My dog. If anybody in my house is watching, y'all please come get the dog. Okay, thank you. If you're watching, okay.
You're up here talking about Dogman eating people, eating animals, and
Yeah.
dogs getting ate by what is it? The
So she's over
beast
here
of whatever.
upset. She's upset. Yeah, she's got to go out. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh goodness.
Oh man, this
Yeah,
is pretty fantastic though. I don't know if my kid doesn't come up here and get my dog, I'm gonna probably have to cut the show here in a few minutes because I got to take the dog out. But yeah, I kind of wanted to just kind of do a final thoughts on the Beast of Bladenboro tonight a little bit in case we do have to cut it tonight. Barry, what are your thoughts on it? Okay, when it comes to the blood sucker aspect of it, this is not just a big cat. Do you agree?
I agree. I think it's some type of experiment coming from somewhere, and the thing is that the lion / other hybrid babies, or the other hybrid part, what is the other DNA there? Is it just normal Earth creatures, or who knows? I mean, it's excuse my language, but it's dark crap. So with dark crap, who knows?
Yeah, it's a little odd.
If that answers your question, I wish it was more positive, but it's just most all these targets we do are all like dark. It is what it is. The place we live here.
Well, it is what it is. Well, it's exposing it. Okay, I just heard the door open, so somebody's coming. Okay, so we can keep going. There's somebody. I don't know. It's whoever's coming to rescue the dog. So yeah, she will go get bought, y'all. We're all good. Thank you. But okay. The last time I bring my dog up here during the show. I'm just kidding. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, bud. Okay, I got a whole army of people up here right now getting the dog. See, that shows you that my family does tune in. They do watch my shows. Oh my gosh. Thanks.
You know, something I'm going to throw out, and I don't want to get in trouble for talking about stuff that has nothing to do with the topic, but I find what he says, the DA Roberts, that they found in there confirming that there was underground facility or whatever we were just talking about there. It reminds me of the samples that were found by spacecraft satellite Bennu, that went out to that asteroid and grabbed material and came back and dropped it back to Earth. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of talk about some of those pieces when they're looked under the microscopy, that electron, that they have what looks like a type of almost gears in them, pico type of gears. And that really is interesting. And that brought some other, they've got actually, you can look at a sample of that at the Smithsonian. They've got it on display. You go up there and take a picture of it with your phone. Interesting to see what people that take pictures are able to find when they start magnifying that. Is this actually ancient technology? And to the point where people like Richard Hoagland are saying that appears to be some type of a spacecraft. And that's why they sent that thing out there, ancient spacecraft. And when dealing with that also, you've got oh gosh, I wish I had written down. There's a piece of moon rock. Oh, I know we're supposed to talk about the moon, but there's this piece of moon rock that's in Biden's office in the White House. And they say when you look at that under electron microscope, it has similar structure to this thing from the Bennu asteroid. So there again, you have something right there in the White House that looks like it might represent actually ancient technology that is our moon, as far as that really being a spacecraft of some type. It's very interesting. That's right there. And then when you start dealing with what we talked about before, not just the nano, but the pico, and these civilizations that go into miniaturization. You know, it's a whole nother thing going on there, and it's worthy of thought. I know I say it a lot, but it really is food for thought.
Yeah. Yeah, and that target that you gave me last week too. That was an interesting one. I don't know how that connects to it all too, but that was like a big old box of AI that was 10 times the size of Earth. So,
You know, I went back and looked at some of the chat after we did that, and somebody had asked me to say more about the Dyson spheres. And the Dyson sphere, the reason why I brought that up is because that cube that you were looking at is several times the size of Earth, maybe twice the size of Jupiter. And you didn't see any life forms on there. You
yeah.
only detected AI and artificial stuff. And that that's really interesting to start thinking of the Dyson sphere. And what a Dyson sphere is actually an engineering structure that is over encapsulating a star and all the planets in its solar system. So for us, it would be over the sun and all the way past the second Kuiper belt out there. We'd be encapsulated in something that looked probably similar to the way the Death Star looks on the outside, or something like that. But anyway, that's what that would be. And thinking about what could possibly be if you've got micro implants being removed by Dr. Lear and others that were microscopic but had over a mile of carbon nanotubes in them. Can you imagine what something the size of that thing out there on the sun would have in it as far as inner? It's creepy, I think.
Yeah. Pretty creepy. It is. Thank you, Cat Chaser. That is very sweet of you. Target me, sweetheart. We're going to put a target on you. We're going to find you. No, I'm just kidding.
Greetings. That's nice.
Yeah. You know, Renee had a really interesting comment. I just had that up and said that they're chimeras, man-made. And I'm assuming Renee's talking about our Beast of Bladenboro. There's a lot of beasts, by the way, all over the country. At the Beast of Bray Road, and the Beast of Land Between the Lakes. You know,
get no argument from me on that. You know,
yeah.
I mean, they seem to have all different kinds, and it's just more of them popping up, and it makes you really look at Greek mythology, especially. Same factories probably producing the same type of creatures of a different type, but all that, the Minotaurs, the Centaurs, Pan, you know.
Pan. That's creepy. Have you seen that video? Okay, I know some people in the audience probably seen this. I don't know if it's real or not. But well, there's a couple of different videos that I saw. There's on TikTok. Y'all know how credible well, TikTok can be credible. I don't know. But there's a TikTok video of one looked like a demon or something that was on top of a mountain or on top of like a cliff, and it had wings or something on it. I don't know if y'all seen that. And there was another one, like a goat man sitting on top of a cemetery, like a burial plot or something that was like raised in. Yeah, I have to find it. I'll see if I can find them.
You know, was it like about a year ago? I'm sure it was you that sent me a picture of this creature that looks like a pan in the forest. Was that you? That was you, wasn't it?
Oh, don't say that. I wasn't supposed to. Oh, I didn't show it publicly. Okay, I didn't show it publicly. Yeah. So we'll talk about that after the show, Barry. I just showed it to you. No, I actually showed it to you in private because it was on. I showed it to you while we were after a show.
It was in person. It was in person. Yeah.
It was after a show. Yeah. So yeah, I'm like, don't tell anybody. Yeah, there's actually some game trail pictures and stuff of what looks like goat men and stuff that I've been shown before. So weird stuff for sure. Definitely weird stuff. I get sent all sorts of weird stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm asked to never show it publicly. Okay.
I gotta tell you that, just in all fairness, all right. I don't mean to insult anybody, but now, especially with your sect, I've seen incredible evidence. And what is it with their, don't tell nobody, hold it. What? That doesn't help the cause at all. When I see things that are real, when I see a video of real orbs coming out of a ship, then turning into grays running around, then turning back into orbs and going back and leaving, about as real as it can get, to where somebody like Sam Winston or Steven Spielberg would kill to have that footage.
Yeah.
I
know. I'm still trying to get that guy to release that.
To produce it, sorry. But it's just stuff like that. I've just seen several times now, just people have real evidence and they're trying to gather the evidence, and then they get it and then they hide it. And we have to move past that right now for us to go forward as a species. We're in trouble. It's about time to stop holding out. We already know the government's screwing us hard. So, I guess I shouldn't be saying that.
Let's not talk about that on my channel, please.
Yeah. The government's great. They treat us great.
Awesome.
They never lie to us. No way.
Well, so that's true though. Okay, so I went on Grant Cameron's show. I think it's called White House UFO last year, and we talked about portals, and we got in the discussion of some of the evidence that we have, and I was talking about the video that I had seen of those orbs that you're referring to, the same one that I saw in person, and so he was like, you have to have him release that. I mean, he grilled me on air, and I was like, well, it's not mine to release, and I've contacted that person. And I've asked him, when are you going to release it? Like, you don't have to do it on my show. It's kind of important to release it. But see, he was given it from a friend of his and was told never to show it because people, here's why, because people are scared that they're going to get a visit and their lives are going to be ruined in some way if they release things like that, because we hear stories about that all the time. And so it's a real thing. I mean, people get knocks on their doors, and some people just want to live a normal life. They don't want all that hoobaloo stuff, with the getting followed with the white.
For what it's worth, I will say this, and you know this because you know me for real personally. You know that the truth about me is I had no desire to come forward.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth is, now when I was younger, I said, "Oh, I'm gonna talk about my experiences," but man, that was just talk. Just like I said, like the second time I went out there, the mountains, I said, next time I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna take me a chocolate bar, stand out there, I'm gonna meditate with Sasquatch. Man, when I got back up there, I was out there. You kidding me? So I was the last person that ever wanted to talk about my experiences. But then I got in this accident. I died during the accident. I got thrown into position after that to start talking, and I got exposed. So, and then it led to this. So I understand, but it's just right now, I think a lot of us are here for that reason. The time of hiding the truth is ending. And this concocted world we live in, that's starting to end. The real disclosure people are talking about, the real elevation in consciousness. That's what's happening. But it starts with people being aware. And then right now we have so many people that are starting to have paranormal events in their lives. And a few years ago, it's easy to laugh at people like you and I. But now it's people laugh at us until something happens to them. And now it's getting to a point where it's starting to happen to a lot of people, because things are merging and connecting. And I think it's a chance for humanity to evolve and save itself and remain the stewards of this planet. It's one chance to stay in line with the divine field. And Jessica, you know as well as I do, the divine field is real. Yes. It's not a joke. It's not just words.
It is 100% it's real. Foxy Joe, thank you for that super sticker. I appreciate that very much. Yeah, it's very real. I might have done some interesting oh wait, here we go. I might have done some interesting remote viewing on stuff like that too. Sovereign Cosmic Wildman, yes. For entertainment purposes only tonight. Thank you for reminding me. I saw a couple of your comments. So I was gonna pull them up.
I like that name.
This is for entertainment purposes only. Everybody, YouTube. And everybody that's watching. We're just having a fun discussion tonight. This is just us looking into this stuff. Yes, this is some interesting remote viewing data. I stand behind my data. I really do. And I admit to everybody, to y'all, I don't know what the heck I'm doing, what I'm talking about. I'm just a Bigfoot field researcher, okay, that knows how to do remote viewing. So that's why I think
you do a good job in encompassing a lot of different things, which is good. It's what's needed right now.
It is.
And I think you have a lot of more people that are copying you and biting it, as what we called it back in the 90s. They're biting. They got a lot of more people biting than you think.
Oh,
You know? Oh
I don't.
yeah.
I'm too busy to pay attention, so I have no idea what people are doing.
It's just interesting.
It's
That's all,
okay.
because I think that why I choose to really enjoy working with you is because you've not been bit by the fame bug. And I've seen people in these, and it's not attendees, but people that have these platforms, and they've been bit by the fame bug, and they don't care about anything else but being known and being famous and getting known and being a household name like Christopher Reeve or something. And it's not what this is about at all. This place is in trouble. Humanity is in trouble, and has been for a long time, but it's getting way worse. What Art Bell used to call the quickening, I still believe in that big time.
Yeah. The quickening. Yeah,
You know,
we got this here.
well, who cares? We're about to be done anyway. I'll just say it. People get mad at me anyway. You know,
Brace yourselves, everybody.
I had these. You know, somebody asked me recently. They said, "What is you've done all these videos, and what's your favorite one? Do you think is the best one?" I said, actually, it's called Mana and the Great Barrier Reef, and it didn't do very good. I did it right after I got shadow banned. And you know what this involves is, I was very curious because some of these beings during these encounters I had, they stepped forward to me when I was younger, and then when I got older, they like stepped back and other stuff started happening. Well, why? And what it is with this being named Mana, have you seen representations of Mana? When I showed that being, I probably got more hits than any other when I first showed that being. But it appears to have brain on the outside. And it's amphibious, I believe, and it looks very much like brain coral. You know, when I start picking up information later, trying to figure out kind of contact, why did this being step back, yada, yada, and why is it not just dealing with me, but why is it involved with Earth? And it took me into coral bleaching and into what's going on with coral and what's called supercoral that resists the bleaching effect. And just last night, I still like, sorry, I'm an 80s cat, I guess. I still like Nova, and I watched Nova. And just last night, they had a Nova on. I guess it's maybe a couple years old, but it was called Rescuing the Reef. And they talked about all the new type of species of supercoral they're trying to make to repopulate the coral reefs, and the barrier reef especially. And, you know, when dealing with a being like Mana that is organic and involved with Earth, despite wherever it's coming from now outside our space-time continuum, is this a species that was in Earth's past, the type of coral that became sentient and then went galactic? Or is it from our future, one of these types of super coral that's going to evolve and go galactic? This is real food for thought, because we don't push our boundaries or parameters of contact far out enough, especially with dealing with organic craft, organic civilizations, and that's not all AI. You know, it's something else going on. I think I'm just bringing that up because I think it's worthy, and stuff like that is not acknowledged enough. When I was trying to figure out my experiences, the crap I'm hearing right now in the media still didn't help me, okay? It made it worse. It did not explain my experiences. It did not explain the creatures, the beings that I was dealing with at all. Very little. And then I didn't see any contactees that looked like me. That made it way worse, except Barty Hill. And my stuff wasn't like his, but I was missing time. So I was like, oh, what if I got jacked like he did? And I just can't remember. You know, all that stuff, you know, it's and I'm just talking to the people out here that have the experiences. That's what most of your great audience is. They're contactees, they're mediums, they're psychics. And this is the place we can talk about this openly. And I can appear to be probably as passionate as I am. I try to hide it most of the time, but it is what it is.
You can't hide anything, Barry. I see it. I know. Yeah, I'm glad that we can talk about this. And you are a groundbreaking researcher in a lot of this. And just the fact that you came forward and told everybody, all of us, your story, you know, and tell it about your experiences and all your knowledge. My gosh, I mean, you having those experiences brought you to where you are today with all your research and everything. I mean, you wouldn't have You wouldn't have done all that research had you not had those experiences, probably.
And I did all that stuff like my whole life. I was in that tripped out because I thought I was having experiences and I was chasing it, but it was chasing me. And then they continued. Like I thought I was at a point. I'm not a young cat. When I went out to speak at that ranch, I see Kira's on there. Shout out to her. When I met her the first year, I thought for sure my experiences like that were past me. Things that just stopped my world like that. And I go out there and I got blasted perceptually every day I was out there. You know what I mean? So I mean, it's and when certain people like us, I believe, get around something like that aura station that's operating in Mount Adams or Mount Caligash or wherever else, these stations, it opens up not just a portal, but it triggers them. And it starts producing these orbs and these things that take people forward. It's really interesting, and I think that the question is how many devices like that still exist on this planet.
Yeah.
And when I met Kira, she's kind of tall. She has these really, really pretty, like aquamarine eyes. And the first thing we were talking, and she had mentioned how she could always see, but when she was younger, she didn't know she was seeing. And I understand. Like now, when I got older, I was figuring out how many times I had seen what are dead people walking around with normal people, and I couldn't detect that they weren't. You know what I mean? They looked like just burned out people, kind of weirdos, but it wasn't. I was seeing something that was beyond. It's just, but as a kid, you don't recognize that. So anyway, just giving a shout out to her. She's real cool.
Yeah. Kira, thank you for that super sticker. Oh my gosh. That is much appreciated. Thank you. She said, Jessica, you are a shining star bringing light upon the unknown world we live in. Let this bring you peace and knowing you are loved. Thank you, Kira. I love you too. That's so sweet. That was very sweet. I appreciate that. Man, the love, man. I'm feeling the love tonight. What the heck, y'all? And wherever you're talking about skulls getting crushed and stuff, and man.
Hey, skulls.
Oh yeah.
So tell me,
thank you.
Have you ever been around a truly ancient crystal skull yet?
No, not
just
yet.
not just a replica, but an ancient one. I have. I've been around a couple of them, I think, but there's one in particular. This one is called Osh of Osram. And Osh is a black jade crystal skull. And the gentleman that used to go around the countries touring with him passed away. So, but Osh was one of those crystal skulls. And I've been around nice replicas, expensive ones. And you'll touch them, you'll feel something like some energetic, some maybe, type of an energy off of them, but not like Osh. I touch Osh, and before I even got my hand, I start healing in my mind, seeing visions. He's giving me visions, saying things, and the guy's trying to sell me some of these other skulls he has that I'm not going to buy. But this Osh thing is in my mind, and I can't even tell what Dennis is saying anymore. He's just going like this, his mouth, and this thing, because he said it was found in a Guatemalan warlord's tomb, and this thing is telling my mind he's wrong. I'm African. Look at my nostrils and look at this and that, my jaw structure. I'm from Africa. I had a friend come looking at him, and they told me that's actually African jade, Barry. And there was other ones that were like another one called Gaia and other skulls that were around Osh. I think one or two of them possibly could be one of the 52 ancient ones, but Osh was by far dominant. I never had a skull come up on me like that. And communicate with me like that. Really went in his presence, and then it was gone out of the state, and it's hitting me up again. I was communicating with this thing. A lot about to say about those things being computers, ancient computers.
Oh yeah.
I never met Max or the
quartz, right?
Childress. What's that?
Yeah. So it's quartz, right? Quartz. That's my favorite. So I would assume aren't those crystal? I mean, quartz is crystal's quartz, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Barry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, I was done. I already talked about stuff that's off topic, and I don't want people to get mad at me. So,
Oh man. Well,
you did get all the data and all that, right?
I did.
Okay, all right.
I did. I got the important data out tonight. I did, and so long story short, I guess we've got a lot of data that deals with something that's hybrid, probably And as Renee is in the chat today, he said, you know, definitely man-made chimera. Okay. And I trust Renee's words on stuff, you know, whenever he tells me stuff. And so I think that lines up with the data. Let's just say. So I think that we're dealing with this Beast of Bladenboro is some sort of a mountain lion hybrid or a lion. What if it's a lion hybrid, not just a mountain lion? What if this is like a straight up lion? I mean, we didn't even go there.
That's like to me. And remember like when connecting that with the chupacabra, I know I've said this before, so I won't repeat it, but that hurricane and everything, I typed in for that year 1994. Anybody can get online and do this. Genetic laboratories in Puerto Rico in 1994. You know, or even just right now, and see the ones that exist now and trace them back. How many of them were in existence in 94? Whatever this place is, it wasn't even underground when it got hit by this hurricane. These things escaped. You know what I'm saying? It's something right in plain sight. Sometimes the best place to hide something is in plain sight.
Tell me about it. Yeah, that's like what I told. That's what I told DA about that. I told him at the Joe Bald Rec area, which we just mentioned earlier. That was with the Dogman, potential Dogman that I was remote viewing on that property there. I said, look, whatever it is, it's going to be hidden in plain sight. There's going to be a doorway. There's going to be something that you're going to see that's covered with brush and stuff that's going to indicate that there's an underground base there. And then he said that on the show yesterday. They found it there. Wow. So, yeah. I love remote viewing, Barry. I love this. This is too fun.
That's a nice comment. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you. That's nice to say. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. And Val has an interesting question. Can you remote view a crystal skull? Yeah, totally. Can remote view a skull.
Remote view Osh and where he came from. Yeah. He claimed to me he was carved off planet.
Wow.
What does that mean in a ship?
Oh, that's interesting.
Another spear. I don't know.
Wow. So, okay, Abbott has an interesting statement right here. 1,100 pounds to crush a skull. I mean, I don't know my numbers on that, but I'm assuming that's right. That's a lot of pressure right there. You got to have a really strong jaw. Like, I can't think jaw. And I picked up on shark teeth. That's about Jaws, right? Jaws had shark teeth. the movie. Okay. But yeah, you gotta have. That's a lot of pressure. Scary. Pop a skull like that.
You remember the movie Jaws 3? Man, that was the weakest movie. When that came out, it's when you still had to wear those sorry old 3D glasses, the real thick ones. That shark came up and went through the glass. It wasn't even moving. That was terrible. Oh, I was right in the theater too, paying big money to sit there and watch that.
Yeah. Junk. Oh my gosh. Oh, Sovereign Cosmic Wildman. He was asking about what's up with all the skull crushing. Well, that's what we're talking about tonight. That's the topic. Is the Beast of Bladenboro, and all the dogs, the farm animals, the goats. Unfortunately, their skulls were crushed by something, and so that's what the big cats. You're gonna have to rewind. Okay, rewind and go back and watch because we covered a lot of interesting skull crushing information tonight. So we crushed it, didn't we, Barry? We crushed it.
I guess if you just tuned in, you heard this little thing you heard. It's kind of trip, man. You know.
I know. Yeah. So we crushed. I think we crushed this one tonight. We crushed this target, and so it's yeah. Okay, got it. Awesome. Yeah. This has been a great show tonight, Barry. Thank you for being here. And so yeah, there's some kind of chimera with some blood-sucking capabilities all out there that was terrorizing the town of Bladenboro, or the county, back in 1954. So if that was happening then, what do we got going on now? Good Lord.
You know, I said something incorrect. I said that they weren't finishing their kill, but some of those reports where the bodies were drained of blood, so I guess they did. I wasn't thinking about that.
Uh-oh. Was that mine? That was me. I just disappeared. Are you there, Barry?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. I think we had a glitch. Did y'all see that?
It's been glitching. I don't know if it's on my side too, but you've been glitching on me for the whole time, kind of.
Okay.
It's not every time because it's glitching all of a sudden it's like you're there again.
Okay.
But
Yeah. Well, you're
I didn't say
freezing up
anything.
too.
I didn't want to say anything because I want to make it worse.
Yeah,
But
it's
my
okay.
signal says it's strong. But I'm becoming convinced the way that I know now why some of our messages are getting missed. I know why now.
Okay.
But still, the amount of interference and how that happens just before we're doing targets, and it's uncanny, don't you think?
It is. So it's for the audience. Y'all know that Barry and I are doing these shows. He's giving me targets a lot, and anytime we talk about a show, if I invite him on a show, or if he gives me coordinates for targets, any kind of correspondence that we have where we're texting, it gets lost. We never get it. We never receive each other's messages, and I'll go days, and he'll have written me back all sorts of stuff, and I never get it. And so we have to send each other screenshots back and forth. Like, I wrote this, I swear. So we have found. Let's not announce how we communicate now. We found alternative ways to communicate now, because there's a whole lot of us our communications being cut for some reason. And I don't know what it is. You're the only person that happens with. So
Yeah, I know what it is now. The big mystery behind it. Off the air, I'll tell you why.
okay.
I finally figured it out. It's a little more simplistic. It's not as mysterious as I wish, but it is a pain in the ASS. But it is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Donna says it's because we're getting to the truth. That's why. We're getting to the truth. That's true.
That's true.
We know it.
Some of the targets we've done, there's a lot of truth being revealed on that. What you've seen, and some of the times, like I said, I get more than what I bargained for on some of these targets. But that's the fun of it, right?
It is. It is. I mean, sometimes we're not ready to hear some of what's in the data. I mean, maybe we're not, maybe we are, but like you said, it's time for full disclosure, right?
Yeah, it really is.
It's time.
It really
That's why we're doing these targets, because we deserve to know.
I'd almost given you another target, and I was gonna do it, but I probably won't now. So I might as well just say what it was. Have you ever heard of the UMO papers and the UMITES? UMMO papers and UMMITES?
No.
UMITES? They landed in the Pyrenees, and their ship crashed or was malfunctioning something, and they were here for a while. They interacted with the people there for I guess several years, and they produced this book that was called the UMO papers, UMMO papers.
Okay.
And it's heavy with quantum physics. This is back in probably the 60s, 70s. And they said they would return one year. And I think they were from, it's unusual constellation. Not Vega. Anyway, anybody look that up anyway. But just the point being,
I wouldn't know it anyways.
When Stephen Hawking's, he would never discuss the UMO papers. They had these brilliant equations and all the stuff in it. He would never talk about it. He got real angry when people would mention the UMO papers. I just think it's very interesting, the things like that, and some of the things you could remote view. Now, the reason why I didn't go too much into it, because they were some type of Nordics. And I just get burned out on the Nordics a little bit. No offense to anybody, but it's just so much that dominates the mainstream, Anyway, so just food for thought. That's all. I almost gave you the ability just to look at the UMO papers and look at them. It'd just be an interesting target,
Yeah.
Anybody can look that up.
Oh, very cool. I'll look it up. I know we got people in the chat that are looking it up too. I want to thank Robin M. Thank you, Robin. This is one of the best disclosure platforms. I appreciate that.
It's really cool. She's really nice. By the way, he's the only person that picks up pictures as cool as mine. No, I'm just kidding. She puts up really cool pictures.
Yeah, on Facebook.
Yeah.
Y'all do put up some pretty pictures. Yes. Yeah. I like that. Yeah, and Susan's right. There's more to disclosure than just UFOs, because when people hear the word disclosure, they think of UFO disclosure, but that's not it, you guys. There's so much more to disclosure. We are the disclosure.
And UFOs is just a term. Really, it's about contact, and it's a conscious event. For years I couldn't separate that. I was saying, no, my stuff is physical, because my experiences were physical. They weren't just all astral stuff. You know what I mean? So I want to make this separation between, but the truth is, when you do experience another dimension, another universe, you're as a being of perception, it's in a dreamlike fashion a lot of the time. You know, even if it's a physical experience, it's just because it's a conscious event. Period. And that's where all this begins and ends. And the nuts and bolts are end, and the consciousness and who and what we are begin. You know, you start doing these regressions. I do regressions with people, their last lifetime, it wasn't on this planet, it was somewhere else. Mars, another galaxy, another universe.
Yeah.
I don't make the rules, I just have to deal with them.
Yeah. I just saw a comment from Richard, shucking it down with cornbread. I'm not going to put it on the screen. He asked if I've ever had any problem or anybody block me because they don't want problems on their show. I don't know. What are you calling me, a troublemaker? Is that what you're calling me? Shucking it down with cornbread? I'm just kidding. No, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't think so. I hope not. But
that's what I said, Umo.
Yeah,
that's
Umo.
Exactly what I said. The Umo papers, UMMO papers, but they were from the Umites, UMMITES.
Yeah. Yeah. So Sovereign Cosmic said that he just had a dream about crushing a skull of a demon, he says. So that was his first comment. So he was like, I had no idea. He didn't know this is what we're talking about tonight. I didn't know we were going to be talking about crushing skulls either. Well, I did after I found out the target. Okay. So, but that's interesting. So, ooh, it's weird how this is synchronistic, right? A lot of things are very synchronistic about the shows that we do and the topics, and everything is so relevant, isn't it, Barry? It seems like every single show that you and I do together, there's some sort of like serious relevance to a lot of this that's relevant like right now in this moment. So it's like we're guided to do this.
It's all connected, definitely. And it's been fun because it's revealed more than I thought it would.
Yeah.
You know, it truly has in a lot of these topics. And it becomes really interesting to see, like, you know, some of them, I'll be honest, heck, I just want to just know if they was real. I knew you would hit on it if it was fake,
Yeah.
you know. So
I've had a couple of fake targets before, for sure, and I was able to tell right away for the most part. So,
what is that like? What is it like when you get a fake one? What is it like? How do you determine how it's going to go?
The word is frustrating. Frustrating. You can't pull anything out of those numbers. There's like nothing there. And you can tell it's not. There was one, and it had to do with Dogman and a Dogman siege of a ranch somewhere. But that's all I'm going to say about that. Yeah. Okay. But anyways, this has been fantastic, Barry. Tell everybody where they can find you, about your amazing YouTube channel, and where, and your Patreon. Okay.
I'm on Patreon. I do a lot of stuff on YouTube under Barry Littleton. Come, please subscribe. Help me beat the shadow ban. But I've actually been getting a lot of like private messages from that YouTube now. It's starting to help people a little bit, and I'm really honored. I mean, I wish that would happen, but it actually did. So thank you to everybody. I'm also BarryLittleton.com. I don't do much there, but there are links there to my other stuff.
Awesome. Okay, you guys, please go subscribe to Barry's channel and to his Patreon for sure. Okay, Barry, thank you so much for being here. This has been a really cool show. I think that we kind of got some answers tonight on the Beast of Bladenboro, and we also learned how to survive a mountain lion attack, and we learned some tracking. So I mean, I think we did a pretty thorough job of putting some information out there tonight. If nothing else, y'all learned the difference between a dog track and a cat track, right?
Well, I think it was cool because we don't hear so much about large cats right now. Dogman is kind of the in thing, not really cat people.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Totally. Richard, I just saw your comment. No, I didn't. I was reading your comment wrong, I think. It's okay. I didn't take any offense to it. I promise. That's awesome. We'll talk later, okay? But yeah, Barry, this is awesome. Can't wait to do another show, and we'll do some more targets and stuff together. And I want to thank everybody for the super chat, super stickers tonight. Kira, that was far and beyond. You didn't have to do that. I appreciate that. everybody, all y'all. And to all my channel members that are here tonight, oh my gosh. Thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart. And to all my Patreon members, I love you guys so much. And I appreciate it. I hope you guys learned something tonight. You have something, Barry, before we go? You good?
Kira has pictures of one of those orbs coming out of that mountain I'm talking about from that device. That's all. Sorry.
Okay.
That was totally off. Sorry.
Awesome.
I shouldn't have said
Okay.
that. It's true, though.
Well, cool. Well, I'll have to see it sometime. That's amazing. Okay. Well, you guys come see me this weekend. I'll be at Space Out Radio. I believe my guest is Anne Marie. Okay. And
cool.
Daryl's girlfriend. We're going to have so much fun. So I need to contact her tonight. I've been so busy, y'all. I've been so busy. But we're going to have a great weekend at Space Out Radio, and then I'll be back next week with some more shows for you guys. So and y'all be sure to please come see me in 2 weeks. I'll be at the Georgia Bigfoot Conference in Dillard, Georgia. So y'all definitely come see me.
Man, is MK Davis going to be there? Is MK Davis going to be there?
I don't know. I might contact him, see if he'll come, but who knows? But he's not planning to speak. But yeah, we'll be there. So you guys have a great night. Barry, have a wonderful night. Thanks again for being here. And you guys stay safe, lock your doors, and pay attention when you're in the woods. Okay, look up so nothing pounces on you. All right. I love you guys. Y'all have a great night, and we'll see you next time. Bye. Bye, Barry.